setting myself up, setting up stuff. Okay, chat there, and then that one. Okay, I think we're all set up. Let's see. Audio quality good. Is our mic working? I don't know if my mic's working or not. Okay, I just turn up my volume. Fix Streamlabs. Oh, the mic is all the way up. I think it's just me fixing this part. Alright, I think this works. Alright, we're gonna be reading Reddit stories, probably from Am I the Asshole today. These are the top ones. Top stories. Alright. We're gonna be reading some Reddit stories, so we're gonna start with this one. Am I the asshole for telling my fiance his cousin's girlfriend is not welcome in our new home? I, 26 female, have been with my fiance, male, 27, for 5 years. Early in our relationship, he and his cousin, Steve, male, 30, purchased a house together as co-owners. My fiance's sister and other cousin also lived there for a while. Everything was fine until 2 years later when Steve started dating a woman who quietly moved into the house after only 4 months of dating. The upset everyone since it wasn't discussed within the household. Is that better? His mic's not working. I don't like this. This is annoying. Figuring out these stupid mic settings is a pain in my ass. Are we working now? How's that one? Alright, turn it this way. Fix that for first and foremost. How is that? Is that better? Let's go a little closer to it. We're gonna read some stuff from Best of Redditor updates. Okay. This one's titled, Am I the Asshole for telling my 19 female daughter that she will have to move out of my house if I get divorced because of her lies after her stepdad saw her naked? Throwaway account due to the situation, but I needed to know because I was getting calls and texts from my family calling me an asshole for not being on my daughter's side. My husband and I have been married for a little over 5 years now. I will say my daughter, 19 female, and he has an okay relationship. Not exactly father and daughter, but almost advice asking and given relationship, basically. I have never picked up on anything weird from my husband towards my daughter, and my daughter has never said or insinuated anything at all as well. On Thursday, me and my husband were watching a movie in the living room. We paused the movie as he got up to use the bathroom. I heard him knocking on the door twice. Literally 3 knocks each time on the door and a couple of seconds apart. It was loud enough for me to hear him knocking from the living room. The next moment, I heard screaming. I rushed into the bathroom and saw my daughter completely naked cover himself and yell at my husband to get out. He didn't see anything that happened, but after I can't read today. I didn't see anything that happened, but what I saw after I heard yelling was my husband literally fell over his own feet and struggling to get out of the bathroom to get the bathroom door closed. I asked my husband what happened, and he said that he knocked, nobody answered, so he went in, and my daughter was naked in front of the mirror, and he tried to get out. After my daughter calmed down, I asked her side of what happened, and she said she was changing, and all of a sudden my husband walked into the bathroom. I asked her why she didn't answer him when he knocked, and she said he didn't. I told her I heard him knocking, and I'm sure that he did. She said she didn't hear it because she had her earpods in and listening to music. We got the situation sorted, and my husband did apologize to her and explain that he thought the bathroom was empty and he walked in. She even gave him a hug and apologized for yelling at him. The problem is now, my daughter got family members involved, and now they are calling my husband a creep. I got a call from my sister berating me for having my husband in the house I asked what she meant, and it came out that my daughter spent a whole other story and left out the fact that she was listening to music with her earpods and is telling everyone she answered him, and he still walked in the bathroom to look at her. We have cameras in our hallway, which proves my husband did knock, and you can see it on the video, but the camera has no audio. I sat my daughter down and asked her, and she denied saying anything like that or that she had told anyone anything. I got mad and asked, "How does your aunt know what happened?" And she went silent. She said that she talked to her niece about it, and she must have told her mother. Does she mean cousin? I think she might mean cousin. Because if it's OP's sister. Yeah. I'm gonna make this text a little bit bigger because I can't read it today. I asked her why did she lie about what happened and made my husband look bad when he did nothing wrong. She again denied lying about anything, and I told her what my sister told me. She just started to cry and say sorry. She was just talking about making up scenarios with her niece. The whole day yesterday, I got calls and texts from my family members as the story spread. The wrong story is spreading, and my husband was looking like a creep to everyone. I sat my daughter down again and had her read some of the things being said about my husband and told her that she has to fix this because her lying is what caused this. She refused, saying she didn't spread things. And she only told her niece, doesn't know, and doesn't want to say anything to anyone because they will think bad about her. She said that they know my husband and this will just blow over. Everything did blow up when my husband walked into the living room with his bags packed and said he was going to stay with his parents for a while because he doesn't want to be in this situation anymore, where he is made out to be this kind of person. My daughter broke down and apologized repeatedly, saying that she will fix it by my husband, and still left. I told her if I get divorced because of her lies, she will be moving out of my house. I told her she better fix what she did and tell everyone that what really happened, because I will not be losing a man that loves and actually cares for me like my husband does over lies she asked me to tell to help her. And I told her, no, she isn't a child anymore, and her lies for attention did this. This is on her. I already tried, and now I'm also being accused of taking my husband's side and not providing a safe space for my daughter. I don't know what to do. My husband asked for a space, and my daughter is inconsolable at the moment. I am not the best state myself. Where is our update? Okay. We have an update from 8 days later. Sorry for only updating now, but I'm not in the best places at the moment, and it has been taking me a couple of days to get my thoughts together. I don't know what to do anymore. My husband has asked for a divorce. First, let me answer a couple questions I saw coming up repeatedly. We have locks on every door. I don't know why my daughter didn't use the lock on the door. The cameras inside the house isn't pointed at any door except for the ones pointed at the front door and the back door. The other camera is at the end of the hall, and you can see every door in the hallway from that camera. We have a bathroom in our room, but we can't use it at the moment. The water is completely shut off due to renovation of the bathroom. My husband has asked for a divorce. On Friday, he came back from home and asked to talk. During our talk, he showed me his phone, and some of the things my family members were saying about him was just outright horrible, calling him a pedo, asking how many times he had taken a peek before. I don't recognize any of my family anymore. I understand if he actually did something, but he hasn't, and the hatred they are showing. Over a stupid mistake, tell me that they refuse to listen, or that they have hated him from the start and is now using this to try and get rid of them. He said he can't ever come back, and this has now started to affect his work life as well. He was called into HR to explain because some of my family members have called his office Luckily, they haven't done anything and refuse to do anything until a case is brought against him. They know my husband very well and they think that, oh, I cannot speak today. I can very much so not speak today. Have, ugh. He said he can't ever come back, and this has now started to affect his work life as well. He was called into HR to explain because some of my families have called his office. Luckily, they haven't done anything and refuse to do anything until a case is brought against him. They know my husband very well, and they think they believe him, and I think they believe him as well because he is still working. During our talk, he explained. I don't like this one. Those stories are kind of boring. Ooh. Okay. So this is gonna be: am I the asshole for obeying my in-laws' wishes too literally? Alrighty. I sent my in-laws an invitation to dinner. We stupidly thought it would be nice if it came from me. For context, the invitation was: husband was thinking of inviting you next weekend. God willing, what would work for you? Do you have other plans? 10 minutes later, my father-in-law called my husband to tell him that they wished the message had been longer and warmer. Husband agreed and told let me know for the next time. The next day, my father-in-law called again over something else. My husband used the opportunity to point out that they still hadn't replied to my message. My father-in-law told him that they would not be replying to me until I fixed and made it warmer. They also pointed out that at my job, I have to adopt a certain tone and be perceived as professional. This is the same in family context. Since they wanted me to adopt the same strategies I use for work, I figured I'd use ChatGPT to get frustrating tasks out of the way as quickly as possible. I showed the AI my original message. I told it my in-laws' complaints and told it to rewrite it super warmly, as if I were the perfect daughter-in-law. It came back with an absolutely ridiculous message with emojis everywhere. I copy-pasted it and sent it right after my last left unread invitation. My husband sent it with me and is okay with it. First, I suggested to him I would write a genuine message about my grievances here, but he pointed out that I did so over another petty complaint months ago and it led nowhere. We decided to go with the ChatGPT message minus some of the emojis. Father-in-law works with AI. I have no doubt he can tell this is ChatGPT. Even mother-in-law will know there is no way either husband or I will read this. I do kind of feel guilty about the passive aggressiveness in our response. There's very obvious cultural context here. I understand my culture seems cool to them. I believe there's okay. There's a very obvious cultural context here. I understand my culture seems cool to them, the way theirs seems over the top to me, but as God is my witness, I have unsuccessfully tried everything else to communicate with them. They have ignored the message, no phone call to my husband. I don't want this to go nuclear. I just want them to say, sure, see you next week, and pretend to tolerate my cooking. And then our update. Our update. I was here a couple weeks ago because my in-laws did not find my dinner invitation warm. And blah, blah, blah. That's our little recap. Alright. My mother-in-law did reply to my second message. Thank you for the invitation. We will get together soon, God willing. I did not follow up and let the invitation inspire. They did not come. A bit after that, we had a large family gathering at their place. My husband's grandparents, his parents, their kids and grandkids. I kept the interaction with my father-in-law and mother-in-law to a minimum. I was polite, I greeted them, but nothing more. I felt if I had to make enough efforts trying to connect with people that did not respect me enough to reply to a text message. Because it's fun. I like reading stories. Let me monologue. Anyways, we're back. In the past, I've always tried to use my lack of relationships with the rest of the family against me. I was not close enough to my sister-in-law, or I didn't spend enough time with my grandmother-in-law, and it was proof that I was not making any effort to integrate into the family. I have tried to explain their family is very large, and it takes me a while to build relationship with tens of people who are already close-knit. But as you might as well try and convince a mountain to move to a different spot. Well, not this time. The younger kids have always been easy. They're not as set in their ways, and they accepted me very quickly. I spent hours with the kids playing all over me. The babies used to cry when they saw me. They hate strangers now, only they have stopped crying. They smile and play with me now. My oldest sister-in-law also married outside their culture, so she's always been the most empathetic since she knows what her husband went through with them. My other sister-in-law is a lot more like my mother-in-law, hard one to win over, but even she softened when we are now in a place where we get along. The final blow, though, was where my husband's grandparents, the father-in-law's parents, they were very conservative and would have clearly preferred if he married within the community. The grandmother barely speaks a word of English. I'm not what they wanted, but even they have moved on. They hugged me, and they were clearly happy to see me. Between the fact that I now feel comfortable with everyone else and the fact that I stopped even trying with them, I guess it dawned on them that my problem was not their family, it was them. It might seem like a little thing to the readers here, but such a level of actual awareness coming from them is nothing less than a miracle of God in my eyes. I can read today, guys. Jesus, I'm having trouble. After the gathering, they called my husband again and asked him if I hated them and still held a grudge for the fact that they opposed us getting married for a very long time. My husband was infinite patience, argued for hours with them, and tried to explain that when you treat people unkindly, they tend to not love you back. He pushed back on the idea I was punishing them and reminding them that I've tried very hard for months to get along with them, and all I got was for criticism and ghosting. Whatever else was said during that fight, it seemed to have some sort of effect. They have stopped calling my husband once a week to give a detailed report of everything I had done along the last 7 days. While they cannot accept to see me wearing pants around them, they seem to have given up. I'm trying to convince us that I should never wear pants outside my own house. Again, the 21st century reader may confuse. Okay. And for her credit, I think my mother-in-law has taken the mental load to try and fix the relationship. She's been the one texting me, giving me news, inviting us to a restaurant, all the emotional labor that used to be mine. My father-in-law is still a piece of work, but since his parents are now like me, not much he can say or do. Ironically, his culture is now working for me. I do like how like the things are working better for this OP. Like they are definitely. It sounds like things are fixing themselves for them. I miss you too, bestie. Um. Mm, this one seems interesting. Should I tell an employee I had a dream predicting his death? This is gonna be an interesting one. I know this is a bizarre question, but I just woke up from an incredibly vivid dream in which a fortune teller told me that one of my favorite slash best employees was going to die on September 25th, 2024. I'm not sure to even believe in I even believe in psychic dreams, but this one felt so vivid and certain that where there's just a friend or someone I worked with, or I worked closely with, I would tell them about my dream. But when I consider telling my employee about it, I just kind of imagine the letter that could be written from their perspective. Dear Allison, did my boss just low key threaten my life? I shouldn't tell my employee, right? I do actually kind of want to warn him. And then we had oh, this was back in 2018, was that original post. We have a update 6 years later on December 2nd, 2024. A promise is a promise. I had only been working at that job for a few months when I wrote in. As far as I know, my former employee is very much alive and even asked me for a reference a few months ago. He was mostly a good employee, but had been promoted too fast and fell into the classic trap of thinking there's a level of seniority or management that exists where you no longer have work to build a conscientious with stakeholders and can do whatever you like. He eventually left for another job when he then left to run his own company, which went under after 3 months. He's at another company and unhappy enough to be looking for his next big thing. I left the job where I managed him in early 2021, so if I'm the most recent reference he thinks I have some positive thing, well, he may not have died in 2024, but the jury's still out on his career. So his career died in 2024, not him. Who is texting me? A game of things. Yeah, because let's just autocorrect Owie. This one seems fun. Our title is Hairstylist Has Been Taking and Keeping My Hair. I'm weirded out. I'm also going to be vague because obvious reasons. I'm 32 as my stylist is 40. I got my hair cut today at a stylist I've been using for about 9 months now. I think this is my 6th appointment with them. I usually do a trim or a cut style. Today I went from long hair, high lower back, to an A-line bob. Again, since I started seeing this person, I usually get current style and maintenance trim. This time it was a dramatic length adjustment, so they took a picture of the cut length from in the floor to add to the social media, then intended to add before and afters too. That's all fine and normal. They go to grab a broom and sweep up the hair and place it in a dustpan on the counter for a bit. Again, normal. They grab the broom and pan and head back to the back shop. They're gone for a few minutes, no biggie, then they go out to smoke. But here's where it gets weird. The bathroom in the back of the shop, too. I need to go and step into the back. I don't really notice anything on the way to the bathroom. I go and start to head back out, but then I notice a name on the small clear stone on the table. It has no lid, and it has my hair in it. At first I didn't really think much of it, but I look closer and see it's not just today's discarded hair, but it looks like at least a few of my trim sessions, mixed with it looked like potpourri and a little sand or something. And printed pictures of the cut hair with dates. The printer is sitting right next to it with today's discarded hair pick in the tray. There didn't seem to be any other containers like this when I looked around. It was fucking weird, so I took a picture on my phone. I honestly didn't know what to think or do and went back into the salon. They came back in and I mentioned that I went to the restroom and they seemed to freak out a little, but didn't mention it. I didn't really know what to say, so I just let them finish styling my hair, paid, and left. As a social anxious introvert, this was my nightmare. I got home, and the more I looked at a picture, the more ick that I got. I ended up texting them an hour ago, sending the picture, and requested that they remove the weird box of me and asking for an explanation. For context, the text was, "Hey, so I saw this. I didn't know what to make of it. Can you help me understand what this is and why you have it? I'm not comfortable with you having this and request that you please discard the contents. Also, even though I loved my cut, I believe it's best if I find a different stylist." They haven't responded. Lol, what the fuck? Alrighty, looks like a update about a week and a half later on December 1st. It's been about a week. And with the holiday, I've been all over the place and ended up going to law enforcement to make a report last Monday. I'll likely end up going back if this person keeps contacting me like they have been. And they're giving us a little timeline. So last Saturday, haircut and discovered what happened with the weird tub, and the stylist didn't respond. This is where they left off in the last post. On the Sunday, the day after, they woke up to a bunch of texts from the stylist that woke me up because even though I have Do Not Disturb on my phone, I have setting that overrides if there's repeat contact over times over 3 in case of emergencies. Here's what I got. At 3:49 a.m., I don't recommend going into a different stylist because of this. It's not a big deal. Small towns and people talk, and you may not find anyone that will take you after this, so I'd reconsider and don't like threats. At 3:51, so I have your biologic material and it's my property now. I can do what I want with it and kept it because I can. It means a lot to me. 3:54, why you send the pic? I know what it looks like. It's mine. At 4 a.m., it's you need to respond to me because I think this is a misunderstanding about this, and it's I don't know. And you saying you're switching stylists has me triggered. I do go work and you said so. 4:04, I also charge a $350 client separation fee. So yeah, you can't just say you're switching stylists with more consequences. And I know you said that you already tried a few people before me. There are not many beauty people in the area here. 4:11, asking for an explanation for a stylist having hair in a salon is crazy. Where else would you find hair? I didn't do nothing wrong, but I will get rid of it if you're going to cry about it, but the only way if you say you won't be switching to anyone else for your hair care. You mean a lot as a client and always tip well, and I do good work, and it doesn't make any sense that you know that so many maybe don't threaten people who does your hair and hurt their heart by making accusatory statements. All of those were sent within a span of, what is that, 30 minutes? I didn't respond to any of those that morning because I was so insane to me. I need to process things fully before I make a decision on how I deal with it. So I just didn't respond. Sunday afternoon, I started getting phone calls. This person called me 14 times that afternoon. After every other call, they left a voicemail. Most of the voicemails just said, call me back or text me back, but 2 of them were unhinged. I'm going to paraphrase, but the gist of it was, sounds like they're crying, call me back, I'm getting scared, she won't come back to me for your hair for real. I just like how your hair feels, that's why I kept it, call me. The second unhinged message was left late Sunday night at 11:38 p.m. and said, "I got rid of it except for one lock. I found out I like watching your hair burn more than I liked keeping it." Yikes. I didn't respond to any of those messages, call or texts. The whole thing had me freaked out now. I decided that by the time I was taking Monday off work to go to the police, even they couldn't do anything. I wanted to file a report of the weirdness. I woke up Monday to an email from the stylist with an invoice of $375 for a client breach of contract fee as the chargeable line again item. The email body was just for being a bitch. It was sent from their business email too, so they're really doing everything they can to ruin themselves. Even I had a contract with this nutter, which I don't. The original amount was $350. They can't even get their own extortion fees right. I did email them back by stating that we had no contract to cease all further communication with me at this point forward. I got ready and started heading to the police station around 9:45 Monday morning. I live in Aurora area, so there are portions of my device to and from our main town that doesn't have cell reception. When I finally got back to town, I had 4 voicemails. I knew immediately who they were from. I talked to one of the officers on staff. They took my statement, a copy of the email, and asked me to forward all texts and screenshots of the numbers and calls. They said at least the calls and text could be considered menacing and harassment, but the voicemail where they mentioned how they were burning my hair was potentially concerning. Yeah, no, not concerning at all. They said at least the calls and texts would be considered menacing and harassment, but the voicemail where they mentioned how they liked burning my hair was potentially concerning. I just read that. The officer advised I contact a legal representative in this case. This person tries to take a bogus invoice to a civil suit court. And they said I'm welcome to change my number, but having the piling evidence if they continue to contact me after I explicitly told them not to in the email would only help me. I reached out to a lawyer Tuesday and left a detailed message regarding the situation. They are apparently out of office until next Wednesday for the holiday, so we'll see if they have any advice. I've since received many texts from my stylist. They sent a Happy Thanksgiving text on Thursday morning as well. Regardless, they are giving me a lot of evidentiary material to work with. I'm upset and can't wait to hear from my lawyer this week. And then we have an update from December 8th. Mini update. I woke up to a few new comments and requests for updates. Firstly, I am okay for safe for now. The person has continued to contact me on a regular basis via phone and email. I do have personal protection that I'm comfortable with and can wield with accuracy. But I am nearly certain that this person does not know where I live, so I don't anticipate any type of confrontation here. Our house and property has complete camera coverage as well, so if anyone/anything shows up, we are well aware. I will be posting a more in-depth update with more texts and emails to this point, and regarding a specific incident that will happen on Tuesday. I have an appointment to speak with another officer and then discuss the potential for criminal actions and legal consequences for the stylist as a result. And then they're just thanking everybody. And they got another text. Don't ever say never. Never coming. You're never coming back. Don't make me laugh. I don't want your ass back. You can beg me though. It might help. So we're waiting on an update for that. That is a little insane. How would you guys feel if somebody, like, just collected your hair like that? That's weird as fuck, if you ask me. And then thank you, Kit Kat, for the follow. Thank you, Nameless, for the follow. And thank you, Scarlett, for the likes. Alright. That is an insane story. Honestly speaking, like, that is insanity. To genuinely think that you are entitled to keep somebody's hair because you cut it, that doesn't make it your property now. Alright, let's see another one. Okay. This is one cross-posted from Today I Fucked Up with the title, Today I Fucked Up by turning my daughter into a wannabe superhero with an incredibly strong moral compass. Oh dear. What did you do? To preface this story, I'm going to start with my opinion. I do not believe that what my daughter was wrong. In fact, I'm incredibly proud of her, even though she may have been overzealous. Her reasonings are very much in the right place. We have discussed at a length what she should do if she was ever in this situation again. So let's start at the beginning, as it's the best place to start. I, 35 female, have a wonderful 9-year-old daughter. She is smart and outgoing and just incredibly strong. 2 years ago, me and my ex-husband divorced. He fell out of love with me and fell into a bed with a 21-year-old. It's a story as old as time, but it doesn't hurt any less. About 6 months ago, I was mugged on my way home from work. I was messed up and covered in bruises and a lot of distress mentally. My ex was not a present father. He moved to France for work about 3 months after the divorce was finalized, so he wasn't able to help look after my daughter while I was healing. She spent some time with my mother, but she saw me at my worst. I have a lot of guilt about that. She began getting very anxious to leave the house. She didn't want to leave my side. She was worried Mommy would get hurt again. A friend of mine's son was being bullied at school a while back. She enrolled him in some sort of karate classes, not for fighting, more to build his confidence, and it really worked well with him. She suggested maybe putting my girl in some of those classes may help her feel a little bit more secure. I suggested this to her, and she wanted to do them, but wanted me to do them too. Which, to be honest, was probably a very good decision. I spoke to the sensei and asked if I could sit in on the beginner's class with her. I explained the situation. He agreed. We both loved it. She picked up so quickly and loved the play activities with the other children. A few months after we started, she was leaps and bounds ahead of me and ready to play with more advanced level students. The bonus of that is the night the advanced kids met, it was after the beginner adults met. So we changed out our nights. I started training with the adults. She carried on with the advanced kids, and she had picked it up so quickly. Her confidence in her ability was sky high too. After a few times when we have been out, she has seen something that has worried her. Like someone walking towards us, and she'll grip my hand a little bit tighter and move herself in front of me. I keep reminding her, I'm the adult, we are safe, and this is not her burden. Let us scroll down. Fast forward a few weeks. Last week was her first week back in school after the summer holidays. There was a new student in her class. We'll call them Alex. Alex and my daughter have become fast as friends. She could not speaking about him on Monday. She come home from school. Alex likes this food. Alex likes this TV. So Alex did, etc. It's adorable, but my kid has took it upon herself to be Alex's bodyguard. Alex is a very expressive child. They wear a school uniform, but Alex likes to wear nail polish. He has long hair, which they pull back into what is that palette? It's a braid. He has bows on his shoes. He just wears what he wants and has the confidence to rock a potato sock if that is what he feels comfy in. His pants are amazing too. They have been so welcoming of my daughter and me too. We have had drinks this weekend after the incident, and they are wonderful people. So to the incident. Last Thursday, Alex changed his black nail polish for a deep plum color. Some of the boys in their class decided to show how bad their upbringing was and told Alex, "You're a boy, you shouldn't be wearing girly things because that's what makes you gay." Both Alex and my daughter told them to shut up and go bother someone else. This is when one of the bullies said, "If you're wearing girly stuff tomorrow, I'm going to off you." Yeah, you read that right. So my girl, being defiant little menace, decided she wasn't going to tell an adult and that she was going to handle this herself. Alex also decided he was going to handle things in his own way. Oh dear. Friday morning rolls around. The plum nail polish has gone. In its place is the most beautiful, vivid pink you have ever seen. His hair was in an elaborate Viking-style braid. It must have took a while. It was stunning. Well, apparently, this was like waving a red flag in front of the bully's face. He marched up to Alex and told him he was going to kill him at lunch. My girl told him he could try, but she wouldn't let him. Lunch came around and they were outside for playtime. True to his word, the bully started to run at Alex and my girl took him out. Now bear in mind, up until this morning, I had only had the details from 2 9-year-olds, so when Alex told me she flew, I was fairly hesitant to believe him. He told me she punched the boy in the face, made him bleed, which made him cry, and now he is petrified of her. I got a phone call from the school after lunch asking me to come and pick her up because she has been suspended for fighting. Alex was refusing to leave her and saying that if she was suspended, so was he, because it wasn't her fault. Alex's dad arrived at the same time I did to collect the kids, and the headmaster told us that it was pending an investigation and we would be called in for a meeting on Monday. Obviously, when my daughter told me the full story, I was livid. I asked why she didn't tell a teacher. She said she wanted to handle it so he knew that he couldn't threaten people, because she told a teacher after the fact and they didn't believe her. So I am even more livid that at this point I contacted Alex's parents and discussed a drink and bought over our kids, etc. So this morning, 8 a.m. rolls around. I am sat in front of the headmaster. He begins to bemoan about how my daughter was brought violence into school, how she had broken a boy's nose, and I shit you not, how this is unladylike behavior. I was honestly aghast. We have a zero tolerance policy when it comes to violence. My daughter had been stood on top of a little wall at the edge of the playground, essentially keeping watch. She saw the kid running towards Alex, and when he got close enough, she launched herself off the wall straight at the boy and essentially did a flying punch, landed on him, and then proceeded to lock her arms in his and keep him in place until the playtime supervisor arrived. I asked him how his investigation had gone, and he said he has spoken to the boy because a completely unprovoked attack, my daughter would be suspended further for the week with a behavior management program, and she would be expected to apologize to the boy she hit. I'll be honest, guys, I have never been the confrontational type, but I think it skipped a generation, but that moment I summoned the spirit of my little girl. I asked how he could have I asked him how he could have completed the investigation if neither my daughter, Alex, or the parents had been involved. How had he come to such a conclusion without any facts or evidence? He just stumbled over his words. I asked him, so is this what happens when students call someone's names and threaten to off them? You punish the person protecting them? He was silent and said it was the first time he had heard any of this, and that he had been told that it was unprovoked and my daughter was the only aggressor. I asked him who told him, and he was silent. Then I called him a liar, and that he was informed of the situation because both my daughter and Alex had told him. I left the meeting telling him that my daughter was not suspended. However, she would be not in school for the until the situation had been dealt with to a satisfactory conclusion. I have emailed her teacher and asked her to forward any work she would have been doing in class. She will do it from home. I have her with me in the office today, and my boss is letting me work from home for the rest of the week. I know I am responsible in part for what she has done. I know the violence isn't the answer. I am very proud of her for standing up for what she believes in, but we have had a talk about what she needs to do and tell me things like this. I am furious with her school. I have called Alex's mom, and when I got out of the meeting, Alex isn't in today because they are having a meeting this afternoon about the bullying Alex had been suggested to. She has reported my actions, though, and said that if she doesn't get the right response today, she will be pulling Alex too. There aren't many primary schools locally, but we'll have space for them if the best decision is pulling them out of this school permanently. I'm not happy with how the headmaster has dealt with the situation, to be honest. I have fucked up my daughter royally, I know. That was back in, I believe, August. Hi, Emma. Hope you know you're important and you matter. Oh, thank you. More chicken chat. I'm doing good. How are you? Alrighty, and then our update is September 17th, the next day. Okay, so this all happened on the 16th. The post was originally, and then the 17th is when our update hits. Okay. Alrighty. Firstly, please can I thank everyone in the comments for showing support and sharing your own stories. Thank you. I honestly thought, and still do to some extent, think that I've effed up and failed my daughter. Even though I need to protect came from the fact that she had seen me so broken. A comment which I have now lost said something along the lines, "Mommy got hurt by bad people and now her friend is being threatened, so she wanted to stand up for us." As an honorable fact as that is, I don't want my little girl to feel that way. I want her to be a child for as long as she can be. I wanted her to play with her friends and have no cares in the world apart from who's going to be the goalkeeper or if she wants to hammer turkey on a sandwich. Do you know what I mean? I have spent some of the time with her in the weekend last night, reassuring her of that fact. I am always in her corner, I'm always right behind her, and I will always believe her. She has promised me going forward that she will tell me, from the small things to the big things, I am her mother. No matter her age, she's always going to be my baby, and I'm always going to be going to bat for her. We have also discussed if she feels safe in the school, and if she feels the teachers would have dealt with it if she had told them. She said she feels safe, but she doesn't know if they would do anything, but she has never asked. This is something I will be keeping an eye on and discussing with other parents if their children have similar feelings. So on to the update. My daughter is suspended until Wednesday. I had a meeting with the deputy headmaster because the headmaster is unavailable today. Alex's mom, who for ease I'm going to call Joanne, they have a name, and had a meeting with him yesterday afternoon. For context, the meeting with him was about 20 minutes long. Alex's mom kept him locked in the office with her for nearly 2 hours. She made him go through the chapter and the verse of the anti-bullying policy and explain each point to her. Alex's mom told me that she had him admit what the other child said to Alex alone should have been grounds for punishment. He still claims that he had not been told about the threats, and she wants to open up an investigation into staff to get to the bottom of it. Joanne told him that she didn't care right now how he handled his staff, but he needs to stop trying to place blame everywhere else and take accountability. She told him her first and only concern right now was that her child had been in school less than a week and received a threat of offing twice. The only person being punished is the only person who stood up for him. He reassured He reiterated that we have a zero tolerance policy, to which Alex's mom stopped him mid sentence and asked him why her son wasn't included in that policy. He apologized and said, I can see how that could look that way. However, he's not said how he would be fixing it because he has to do another investigation. I'm starting to think he has a word of the day calendar or something. My meeting with the deputy head was very basic. I think it was essentially to placate me, but everything I have everything documented if I need to go through this again. My daughter has been suspended for fighting, and she can return to school tomorrow morning. I did ask if the other child will be punished. They told us they can't discuss with the other child, and TBH, that is fair, but I will be monitoring the situation. There will be no behavioral report or forced apology. Last night we went to Alex's house and had dinner. Alex keeps telling my daughter, You're on my Christmas card list for life. I don't know where he got it from, but I think it's hilarious. My daughter has convinced Alex to try karate, and they are very excited. It's karate night for us on Thursday, and I'll be talking to Sensei Paul about the alteration, just so they can have a chat about safety, when to fight, etc. More than anything else, I just want her to be safe. She is in an army, she's still a little person, that she needs to remember that sometimes. I also told my daughter a story to some people online, and I showed her some of the nicer comments. I asked her if she would like to choose a name that you can call her. She has chosen Hawk. That's really cute. Suddenly, something clicked into place. The flying punch she did, it was a Cobra punch like the character. Hawk from Cobra Kai does them a lot. You sort of kick your leg like you're going to kick the opponent, but instead you move with a punch. No one has taught her this move, but I have seen her jump off, I don't know what that word is. Satay? I'm gonna guess it's a little wall. And sort of do it before. When we started karate, I took that as an opportunity to introduce her to the Karate Kid series, and obviously following that we started Cobra Kai. She's absolutely obsessed with Hawk and Tori. So we have now had another discussion about how you shouldn't replicate things you see in TV and movies. Parenting is hard, and I have teen years to come yet. I might just dye my gray hair now and get over with it. One more thing I'd like to address. I had 2 hard DMs regarding Alex's gender identity and sexuality. First, they are 9. He is figuring out who he is. If they are LGBTQ+, then that's who they are. But no one's placed but Alex is determined that. He likes bright colors, he likes how makeup and nail polish makes people look. He's just apologetically himself. And we're going to learn a thing or two about that. Another thing, I've never understood why people feel the need to justify themselves to the people in comments claiming their stories were AI generated, but I'm now experienced. It kind of stinks. I am not writing for validation. I do not know enough to care about whatever karma points are, blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's just... Anyways, Hawk saw some of the comments saying she deserves a treat. A lot of you were saying ice cream. She doesn't want that. She wants a sword. But from this being terrifying, sometimes I think she's going to be okay. I'm going to buy her a training sword. And think maybe some books about the samurai. If anyone else has some suggestions, I'm all ears. And then OP basically is just talking about how she's really trying to help her daughter out. I love this mother. I genuinely love this mother. She definitely has a well-rounded daughter. Granted, you know, a little scary. That little girl was ready to go. We're reading best of Redditor updates on Reddit right now. But we're gonna go through chat real quick now they're done with that story. Good morning, Corpse. We are reading, and thank you, Gretchen and Ava, for the follows. But I really do like that mom. Like, that mom seemed like She was very much so trying to help. We're working on a cat beanie. I am live in 3 different places right now. So I'm trying to keep track of all the comments. Thank you guys for the likes too. Let us find another one. First, I grab water. I need water. And to grab my other beanie, that way I know how much. Because my throat hurts a little bit from yapping. Alright, we're back. Sorry, guys. I had to go grab another beanie. So I know how big I'm making this beanie. Because I have not counted my things. Let's go. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 68. Well, that's definitely not 68. We're just going to use this as a guideline. We're about halfway done with our beanie, which is good. Alrighty. Let us see. I bet that strawberry's gonna look super cute. Oh, the strawberry cow. I can read today, you guys. Okay, this one seems like a very interesting title. Am I the asshole for asking my husband to get out of the house because he indirectly accused me of having an affair with my brother-in-law? Ooh. This one is ongoing. Okay. So here is hoping I get. I, a 26 female, have been married to my husband, 27 male, for a year. I dated him for 5 years and finally got married to him last year. He's always been perfect to me, and I cannot understand why he is acting like this all of a sudden and so suspicious about me and my brother-in-law. I didn't even know that my husband was insecure about my relationship with my brother-in-law. I got to know about it from my brother-in-law and still don't like this at all. I also don't want to ruin my perfect marriage over some misunderstanding, but I am really mad at my husband for not trusting me. I always had a great relationship with my brother-in-law. He is 3 years younger than me ever since my husband introduced me to his family, and I and my brother-in-law got along. I think of him as my younger brother, and I kind of think it's kind of funny that I get along with him more than my own brothers, and we joke about it. My brother-in-law is very frank with me. So am I. He often jokes and makes me laugh in front of our family, or if we spend time alone, he always helps me, which is why we are so damn close to each other. Like 7 months ago, when I was sick, my husband wasn't present to help me. He was in a different city because of his new job. It was my brother-in-law who helps me and stayed with me for a week. He helped me with chores, cooking, laundry, and even when I asked him to not let me bother him, he said, "Sis, it's my responsibility to help you and take care of you in my brother's absence." but 3 months ago, my brother-in-law got distant. Usually my brother-in-law used to check up on me, call me every few days, but he got distant. He would come over for dinner and spend time with me when I am all alone, but he stopped. Okay. You're basically saying the same thing. Okay. I thought maybe he was going through something. I asked him, but he just brushed it off. But when he started avoiding me more and stopped, visiting me, I started growing anxious, so I visited him 4 days ago. I wanted to know the reason. After I visited him and pressured him to tell, he told me that his brother asked him to stay away from me, and he doesn't like the fact that we are so close, especially when he's not around, and finds our close bond disgusting. I hugged him and told him we're gonna have to restart the story shortly, probably. Somebody making a lot of noise. But he started avoiding me more and stopped visiting me after I started growing anxious. So I visited him 4 days ago. I wanted to know the reason. Blah, 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 blah. We just read that line. I can't read today. It's fine. It's fine. I just can't read this story today. We're scrolling down to where I was. Anyways, I confronted my husband and he kept telling me and explaining himself how he wanted to hide it from me and how he thinks that me being close to my brother-in-law is really icky. People judge us, etc., etc. I said, fuck those who think about us like this, and I don't care. I will continue to be close with my brother-in-law, and I am disappointed that you will have so little trust in me and your own brother. He said he's sorry. I told him to get out and that he will not return until I tell you. My husband left, but he consistently calls and texts me. I reply to him and ask him how he's doing, etc. But I didn't tell him to come back, even though he has asked me a lot. I am still angry at him. And for what he's thinking, am I the asshole for kicking my husband out? I don't like that I kicked my husband out, but I'm angry and I hate the way that he's thinking. Some relevant commenters. Your brother-in-law isn't acting like a brother, he's acting like a boyfriend. He comforts you when your husband is away, he helps you out when you're alone, and that's why you're so damn close. My camera got fucked up. My bad, my camera got fucked up. We're fixing. Yeah. Ignore my roommate in the back. He got home for lunch, I guess. I didn't really say much. That he was here. We're fixing. I dropped my camera. Blah, 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 blah. And you're acting like a voice, blah, 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 blah. Looks like a lot of people are calling OP the asshole because of everything. Because, you know, her boyfriend said he was uncomfortable. I posted 2 days ago. Realized I truly fucked up by kicking him out and dismissing his concern with my brother-in-law. For those who are asking me if I'm in the brother-in-law's sheets or if I always thought of him as one I would never cheat on my husband, blah, 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 blah. Looks like OP is just trying to defend herself. Okay. My husband indirectly accused me of having an affair, and there's no way he can justify it. If my brother-in-law, my brother, ever hinted or asked me that he wanted to be with me, I would literally slap him and tell everyone in our family, especially my husband, and avoid him, but... So, the way OP is acting in this... Alright. Anyways, OP basically asked if she wanted her husband to, like, if she wanted her, if her husband wanted her to stay away from him. OP's basically acting really a fool in this. She's demanding a lot. Thought that wasn't gonna be interesting, and no. Let us see. Alright. I'm writing this post. This one is titled, Am I the asshole? My husband was nicer to my best friend more than her own husband. Oh dear. This is gonna be interesting. I'm writing this post because my best friend Kate's husband, Bert, called my husband Tim an asshole. I have historically kept my opinion of Bert's behavior to a minimum on the grounds that good friends say their piece once and then love each other through shit and relationships. And then love each other through shit relationships, but I'm asking unknown strangers to be the judge. I'm traveling for work. Kate is stuck at home working at 7 months pregnant on a modified bed rest. Generally, during the week, I drop over once or twice and bring her some dinner. Tim cooks extra portions once a week to share. Cheer her up, read her oldest couple bedtime stories so that mom can go to bed early and get some sleep. Bert works an office job, stressful I'm sure, but during her pregnancy he's been working longer and longer hours. Salaried, not overtime. She's been sad, a bit lonely, yes, I've been suggested counseling. With that for background, this evening, she and I were texting. It was about 6-ish, and she got a craving for taco place near my house. And, importantly, near Bert's office. She says she asked him to grab her some on the way home. He says he's not stopping. He's got work at home, and she should just DoorDash something close. This makes her extremely sad. She says, irrationally sad, but you be the judge. Because he used to surprise her with her favorite tacos, and now he can't be bothered. As one does, I tell Tim I'm 3 states away, so it was just part of our chat as I was getting back to the hotel and getting ready for work dinner. I get back from dinner, and Tim had picked up her tacos, remembering the bag of things I collected for her and the kid that were in my car. He pulled a tuna casserole from the freezer. Bert hates tuna casserole. He dropped them off on the porch and texted her that there were some things that I wanted her to have. Then Bert gets home. He did bring tacos, coloring books, or a good attitude? No, he did not. He called Tim to tell him that he was an asshole for showing up. Other colorful language was also included some fairly sexist nonsense. He also texted me telling me to keep my husband away from his wife. Tim did respond rudely when Bert called. Kate says he told Bert that he was a failure as a husband, a man, a father, and a husband. Oh, that's a human. I can write. Apparently that caused Bert to scream expletives so loud that their daughter started to cry. Not good. Tim then hung up on Bert, blocked him, and texted Kate that if she needed someone in an emergency, she knew where to call, but he wasn't putting up with her shit husband any longer. It's a giant cluster, and I have no idea what's going to happen, but my husband feels like things escalated so much, particularly since their daughter was crying. He feels like an asshole in the moment. Obviously, Bert thinks he's an asshole. I think he's a sweet man. Relevant, content. Relevant comments on what Kate thought. She's super pressed at Bert. It'll probably blow over, but at the moment she's extremely angry with him. She doesn't think Tim meant any harm, except that, of course, the tuna casserole was a bit petty. Should Kate stay with OP and Tim? She's always welcome, of course, but I don't think she'd move their daughter out of the neighborhood. I think they'll work out. She does love him very much, and says that he's at a hotel for the night. I don't think that's happened before. commenter commented, no good deed goes unpunished. That being said, you guys are way too involved in their lives. You're cooking for them multiple times a week. And Opia responded with, yeah, she's on bed rest. We have a meal train. I do Wednesday and sometimes Fridays. Her sister does 2 days. Several of her trade off the other days. So it's more like just a group effort to help out. Is Kate able to stay with families or friends? Her daughter is at her sister's house tonight, but has a daughter. She has a daughter about the same age, and they do this all the time. We're trying to rotate staying over until the night nurse can start. I think on Tuesday. They did have a part-time nanny that was the affair partner. Oh, so yes, her sister has been filing since she was putting on bed rest. Oh my god. There was an affair partner too. Damn. Okay, and then we have an update from the next day. OP's apologizing for the titling being wrong. And then, okay, Bert did email Tim this morning to apologize. Bert said he had forgotten I was out of town, and he didn't realize that Tim was dropping off the meal train food. It was a weird email for many reasons, but Tim responded politely, if non-committal. Tim hasn't changed his view on Bert, in part because of what happened between Bert and Kate this afternoon. Bert also texted me to apologize, but I didn't get this message until after I landed, and by then everything else had happened. I've elected not to respond. Bert went home around noon after staying at the hotel last night. Kate's sister had been taking their daughter to the park so Bert and Kate could talk it out. Short version is that Bert has been avoiding Kate because she's not happy during this pregnancy. I mentioned in a comment that Kate had been married previously, and shortly after her first husband died, she had complications in her pregnancy that forced her on bed rest. Unfortunately, her son did not make it. Her current pregnancy is bringing up a lot of painful memories, and she's scared that she won't be able to make it to full term. So yeah, she's not as cheery as she was whenever she was pregnant with her daughter. It's a difficult time. Bert is frustrated and angry that she is not happy, so he's been staying late and ignoring her until she stops doing that. I know that sounds hard, but I think they could have worked those feelings. But he was explaining how he felt. He said that she should be glad that her son wasn't there, because otherwise she wouldn't have this life at this all. Yeah, that still walks the wind out of me. That's so cruel. She did talk to him about that statement, but the explanation didn't get any better. In an event for her was just the end. She told him she was done. They can work out joint custody, but the marriage was over. She called her sister, and she and her husband encouraged Bert to leave. Currently, Kate's not angry or sad or panicked. She's just done. Personally, I'm surprised since they've weathered some fairly shitty, including infidelity by him, but I guess that was the line. In any event, her, I don't know what context. Her friends are over there for Saturday night game night, and they're eating waffles. You know what? Fair enough. She thought it was important for the internet to know that waffles are appropriate separation food. Good to know. Next time I have to deal with separation, waffles will be the option. In terms of her well-being, which many kind souls were worried about. They have a prenup. The house is hers. His family property is his. I'm sure they'll fight over custody, but she will be financially okay. And in any event, she has family and friends who will help her and support regardless of what happens. And then we have another update. 4 weeks later. Kate and Bert are still separated. It took a few weeks, but she has finally spoken to her attorney and asked them to start the paperwork. One problem has been locating him for service, scheduled parenting time so it wouldn't appear like she's withholding his child. The night he was escorted out, apparently went to a hotel, then told his boss he had to work remotely. where the fuck was that option? And then moved into his home with his mother. Kate has reached out to him multiple times to schedule parenting time, and only found out last week he wasn't in the state. She finally called his mom to see if she wanted to come and see her grandchild for Thanksgiving. He learned that learned that he was there for the entire time. In any event, they made a parenting schedule and, at her attorney's suggestion, agreed he could have the first holiday since the separation. He was supposed to come down Wednesday and pick their daughter up for a few days so he could spend time with that side of the family. So he planned a Friendsgiving to keep her spirits up since her little one would be away for the first time. Fun? Not fun. But it's what families do. Anyways, he didn't show. Thursday morning, still no Bert. Kate was worried since she was supposed to drive down, so she called his mom again. Bert was fine, but he didn't feel up to dealing with this. Yep, you heard that. Heard it. Yep, heard it myself with 2 ears. Kiddo was thankfully still asleep, so she didn't have the joy. So she did have the joy of watching her mom have a complete and utter breakdown. Kate didn't have the greatest childhood herself, and knowing that her piece of shit husband was completely indifferent to his daughter was just too much. She was sobbing so hard and she couldn't breathe, and then started having contractions. Her sister and I panicked. We had both been thinking clearly, and probably would have been remembered that she had BH. What is BH? With both pregnancies. Oh, I think that's the Braxton Hicks. With both pregnancies, and calmed Cecily through the situation after she wasn't so overwrought. Instead, I panic-dialed her OB, and we rushed her to the hospital. She's fine. Baby is fine. Kiddo has now more screen time and junk food in the 2 days than her mother has let her in the few days. Because I am not a great babysitter, Kate will be in the hospital for a few days as her OB is concerned with her stress levels. Her sister's husband, called Bert, but thus far has not made any attempts to do anything useful, like, take care of his own child. So I guess there won't be a fight over custody, a shitty update, but it's been a shitty weekend. If anyone knows how to cheer up a little girl who's missing her parents that doesn't involve McDonald's Bluey, please let me know. If there was still Toys R Us, I'd probably be bankrupt. Second update. Thank you for all the suggestions. Particularly user for shaking my brain loose. I had a sewing room full of surprises and never even thought about crafts. We spent all day today designing and making doll clothes and matching scrunchies for her mom, her aunt, her uncle, her cousin, etc. She's happy and tired, but I couldn't be more grateful for internet strangers. On less good news, Kate is going to be in the hospital for the duration. She says she and the baby are fine, but due to some complications, they want her to stay until she delivers. Kiddo is staying with us until tomorrow. We're close to the hospital, but she'll be heading back over to the sister's place, which is close to her preschool, tomorrow night. Kate wants her to have as much normalcy as feasible. I'm still worried, but the doctors are great and seem to have it under control. Then we have just a whole bunch of commenters. So, here's hoping baby is fine. This was last updated on November 30th, so hoping. You found an app to listen audiobooks? That's awesome. Thank you, Nis, for the follow. And then Allie Thompson on Twitch. Hi, how are you? I'm doing well. How are you? I have nothing on YouTube to report. Alright, okay. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my roommate's boyfriend live with us after he tested us? Okay. This original post was done on November 28th. So, like a week ago. I, 19 female, live with my roommate, let's call her Ashley, 20 female. in a small 2-bedroom apartment. We've been friends since high school and decided to split rent when we both started college. Things were fun at first, but then when she started dating Jake, 22, male, at first he was over a couple nights a week, which I don't mind, but over the past few months he's basically moved in, eating our food, using our stuff, and not contributing a single dime to rent or bills. I finally had enough and told Ashley that Jake either needed to start paying for his share or stop practically living here. She apologized and said she'd talk to him. I thought that was the end of it. Fast forward to last week, I was getting the kitchen ready. Or no, I was getting ready to head out to a late night study group when Jake cornered me in the kitchen. He told me that he wanted to test me to see if I'd be a good person to live in full time. Ba 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 ba. Lost my spot. I was confused and asked what he meant. He said that if I wanted him to pay rent, I had to prove I was roommate material. Excuse me. By showing I could handle sharing space with someone like him. Then he gave me a list of rules he'd want me to follow if he officially moved in. Things like doing my own share of the cooking, even though I already make my own meals, not bringing any guys over. I'm single, but why is that even relevant? And being respectful of his gaming time by keeping the Wi-Fi free during his streams. I laughed in his face and told him that there was no way he was moving in. He got pissed and told Ashley that I was being unreasonable. She confronted me and said Jake was testing the waters. And that I should have been more open to the idea. She accused me of being jealous because I'm single and suggested that I was trying to sabotage the relationship, now saying that if I can't be supported, then maybe she would get a new roommate or one that respects her relationship. I think this is completely insane, but Ashley and a couple of friends are siding with Jake. They're calling me selfish and controlling. Am I the asshole for refusing to let him in due to his ridiculous test? Alright, we have a update from 2 days afterwards. Hi everyone, it's been a wild ride since my original post. I wanted to give an update because a lot has happened. First off, I wanted to thank everyone who commented. It helped me see things in a completely new light. Honestly, I didn't even realize how much I was being gaslighted by Jake and Ashley until I had read some of your insights. I thought they were my friends, but now I see how manipulative and toxic their behavior really is. Maybe I just hated the thought of not having any friends, but who needs enemies with these kind of friends? Not gonna lie, it still breaks my heart to realize this. I cried a lot. But that doesn't change anything, haha. I don't know why I'm saying this, but I've been really emotional. It's been really emotional a couple days. Please forgive my rant. Since our confrontation, Jake has gone full victim mode. He's been telling mutual friends that I'm trying to ruin his life and kick him out of his girlfriend's apartment. Let me remind you, this man does not pay and rent or contribute to bills, so it's calling his girlfriend's apartment is really laughable. He's been painting me as some controlling, jealous monster who can't handle his straightforward personality. Meanwhile, Ashley is eating it up and defending him, saying that I'm overreacting and causing unnecessary drama. What's worse is I've started noticing just how much control Jake has over Ashley. She's completely bought into his narrative and now acting like I'm the enemy, for example. She told me that last night that my attitude is making it hard for them to feel comfortable in their own home. Their home. This apartment is 50% mine, but suddenly I'm being treated like an unwelcome guest. I've decided I've had enough, and I've already documented everything, his constant presence, his freeloading, and now his smear campaign. I'm reaching out to my landlord this week. Most leases have clauses about long-term guests, and Jake has definitely overstayed his. As for Ashley, I don't know if there's any saving our relationship. I'm heartbroken because I thought she cared about me, but now I realize that she's supporting Jake's abusive behavior. Thank you to everyone who opened my eyes and to what's really happening. I'll post another update once I've spoken to my landlord and has taken further action. For now, I'm just trying to reclaim my space and peace of mind. I also really want to thank you for just caring and being there. This is what I needed here. Alrighty. How would you guys feel about that? Like, I would not allow other people in my space like that. Okay. Am I the asshole for lying about being pregnant to my family to protect my husband? Oh, that's going to be an interesting story. My husband is a transgender man, and we've always wanted to start a family together. I have a huge fear of pregnancy, so he offered to carry the baby. It was an insane process. He had to stop taking testosterone for a long time, but he was amazing throughout the whole process, and I did everything in my power to help him feel more comfortable. None of my family knows that he is transphobic. Homophobic, transphobic, all the phobics, but our friends know. He posted an ultrasound to his private Instagram, not knowing that my sister follows him on a burner account. Well, she saw the photo and told my whole family. They were furious that I wouldn't tell them. Our plan was to say that we adopted. They assumed that I was the one pregnant and blew up on me, so I just let it go and rolled with the lie, because I wasn't going to out my husband. The first couple months I'd let them visit. Eventually I started eating big meals and purposely bloating myself to the point of discomfort, so I looked pregnant. They were marked around the 6-month mark that I was remarkably smart, but I just played it off. Eventually, I couldn't lie any longer. I looked for every excuse in the book not to see my family, turned down offers for baby showers, gender reveals, anything that would require us seeing each other. Luckily, my family lived an hour away. We all live busy lifestyle, so them randomly visiting wasn't an issue. The one time they did pop in unexpectedly, we were out of the house, but I FaceTimed. I made a point to be in bed feeling horribly sick, so I couldn't give a bump update. Lied my ass off, and they just bought it. Thought that I had a rough pregnancy. My husband gave birth a year ago and went straight back on the testosterone, and now we're happy as ever. My family has met our daughter, and they adore her. A week ago, after an argument between myself and a friend, said friend decided to out my husband by messaging the family and including proof. They did it by adding everyone to a group chat, posting screenshots and basically the whole story, and then saying I'll leave y'all to discuss, and then left the chat and blocked me and my husband. In the transphobic rage, my mother raced to my home and all but beat my front door down. It wasn't pretty. I had to call the cops. I've been disowned, but that hasn't stopped the daily calls and texts coming from my parents, aunts, uncles, siblings, etc., leaving nasty transphobic slurs on my voicemail and other hateful crap. I ended up crying to my friend yesterday, who told me that I should have been honest with my family, as it would have saved me a lot of heartache. That, or said we miscarried and then adopted later. I'm not happy about things played out the way they did. I just feel so sad now. Maybe I was wrong to lie to my family, but I feel like I had no choice. My husband has always encouraged me to maintain a relationship with my family. However, it was mostly for his sake. Personally, I mentally checked out years ago, but when they met him, they welcomed him with open arms and treated him like a son. Yes, it was conditional on him being presumed cisgender. However, we didn't intend for them to find out. We never intended for them to find out. He felt a familial love that he's never had in his own family, which is why I kept my relationship with my parents at his request. If it wasn't for him, I'd most likely would have cut them off a long time ago. I'm sad this happened, but most of the sadness is for my husband rather than for me. Also, the friend in the story who outed him is obviously no longer a friend I never will be again. The other friend who said I should have told the truth is on thin ice. Alright, we have an update. I got caught up in some stuff outside Reddit for a few hours, so this is a few hours later. Firstly, I'd like to thank you all. Okay, they're just thanking everybody and yapping. There's a final update 3 months later. Hi all, it's been over 3 months since my post blew up on Am I the Asshole? I messaged the mods for approval on an update, but unfortunately that was not possible due to the controversial nature of my original, and I completely understand. Firstly, thank you all for the support. I was absolutely blown away by it and never expected for my post to blow up as much as it did. Secondly, husband and baby and I are safe. We moved about 3 hours away from our old place and we are very happy. We have lots of space, which is a blessing and a curse. A blessing because I can finally have a home studio now, and husband has enough space for a workshop. A curse because there are more rooms to clean. Baby is thriving. We've made new friends too. Some who have babies around our age. Around ours age. Husband and I are missing my family despite everything that happened. We've cut contact, and I don't know if we'll ever be ready to reestablish contact, and it hurts, sucks knowing it's for the best. My sister has tried reaching out, but my parents are still too stubborn. Now on to an update on our friends who outed my husband. I did end up calling a welfare check on them, and nobody has heard from them over a month. None of our friends wanted to call it in themselves. Due to the high priority of them being homeless, it was difficult to track them down. They weren't a high priority despite presenting as manic the last time anyone saw them. Fortunately, their body was discovered a little over 2 weeks ago and their car was found. Oh. Even with a bad thing, that is awful. But my husband and I are distraught and still don't feel like it's quite real. We attended their funeral and said our goodbyes. We are considering speaking to a grief counselor as we've experienced a lot of loss in this whole thing. Oh. Damn. Alright, oh gosh. Okay. So this one's, I found out the actual reason my mom lost custody of me, and I don't know if I could ever look at her again. Okay. I removed my mother's care by CPS when I was 11 years old due to allegations of assault posed against my stepfather. He was convicted of those crimes and took a plea deal, which means he'd be out by the time I was 13. And from what I can remember, I don't even know if he served those 2 years fully anyways. I was his primary victim. I don't remember how old I was whenever I started, but the earliest he admitted to was when I was 8. I don't know if my mom knew before CPS got involved or if she found out afterwards, but there is a fly on my mic. There's a fly on my mic. Where'd you go? Did you fly away? Why is there a fly on my mic? I don't know where it went. It was sitting there for a minute. But now we have just an unconnected mic. So we're going to have to reconnect that. Or sit you on the shelf. I don't want to sit you on the shelf, but so we're not going to do that. We're going to just screw you right back in. There we go. There you go. Back on the shelf. Ugh. God. After being put into temporary custody of the state while legal issues were sorted out, eventually I was placed with a relative and her husband who later adopted me. Blah. My adoptive parents put me in therapy, got me the help I needed, and did everything that they could to make me feel safe again. Something that they never prevented me was speaking to my mother. I was always able to call or text her, and she was always allowed to come visit me, but I could never go and see her. I didn't really question it as a kid. I assumed it was some of the stipulations the courts had made. I believe growing up, the reason my mom hadn't got me back because of neglect, I guess. I assumed the court thought it was particularly her fault and had been left unattended with that man for so often. Or took someone else noting that I was physically injured for something to be done about it. My adopted parents never challenged these assumptions that I had. And they always told me that they would never stop me from having a relationship with my mom, so as long as I wanted. Once I turned 18, my mom and I started talking more frequently, but we didn't see each other in person often. I never really thought of it much at first, but as the years went by, I started questioning the circumstances of my removal and subsequent adoption. Excuse why a woman with no prior issues with the law would have had her child taken away from her and cut in such a dry way. In such a cut and dry way. I decided to ask my adoptive parents about it. They very gently informed him that my mother, in order to gain custody of her husband, would be required to leave the home, couldn't understand under any circumstances come near me. Not only because he was an offender, but because I was the victim. My mother eventually could not meet these conditions, so I was adopted by my relatives. When I worked up the courage to ask my mom if it was true, she didn't deny it. She told me that she loved him and that he was a good man who made a mistake, and they said she could have had her daughter or she could stay with her husband, so she chose him and picked him over me. What? How are you going to pick a man over your own daughter? I don't even know what to do with the things that I'm feeling right now. That is ridiculous. I don't even know what to do with the things I'm feeling now. I feel sick thinking about it. She's my mother. She knew what he did. He was convicted of an 11-year-old child, and she refused to leave him. For the past 12 years, she has willingly slept in a bed next to the man that hurt her daughter, and she has stayed married to the man who hurt me. My adoptive parents said that they were advised by my therapist to let me figure it out on my own time, as my mother, despite picking that man over me, never made any move to have me near him again. She wasn't willing to make him leave so that I could be with her. Evidently, the therapist thought it would be more detrimental in the long run to keep me from communicating with my mother entirely. None of this makes me feel better. The past 2 days have felt like a nightmare. I don't understand how she could stay with him. I don't understand why she could choose a monster over her child. I'm trying to understand why my adoptive parents didn't tell me. But to be honest, I don't really understand their reasoning either. My mom has been texting me, but I haven't answered. I can't even think about her without feeling nauseous or angry, or I want to cry, or both. My adoptive parents kept checking in on me, but I've only answered the phone for them because I don't want them to drive here out of concern. God. I don't even know what to do anymore. I said this in a comment, but I'd like to... 5 days later, they had an update. I didn't expect many people to say, okay. I had a therapy session early in the week, so I was able to bring this revelation up to my therapist, and we were going to work on ways to help me process through this. That is obviously right now it's going to take some time, but I'm pretty sure eventually I'll find a way to live with it, I guess. Where did I stop that story? Alright. Posted January of 2019. This'll work. Title is... What is this title? I work from home and my I got a picture of Luna, you guys. Nothing else is important. Look at that Luna. Look at that face. Look at that face. I love that dog. I severely love that dog. That is like My Amazon package is out for delivery. That's good. No estimate time, but I'll have it by tomorrow. It's like gonna be coming in today somewhere. But yeah. My coworker wants me. I work from home and my coworker wants me to be available 24/7. Ew. I work in a small company with about 10 employees, which is because it is such a small team, and most people have been there for a long time, 10 years plus for the most. It is a very relaxed environment, but fortunately this has bred some of the bad habits and toxicity into the culture. Nothing especially groundbreaking, but for the most part I was being ignored since most of the negativity was coming from one source, our main admin, Karen. This fall, an opportunity opened up for me to work exclusively from home due to the nature of my particular position. I jumped on it. I go into the main office about twice a month, and for the most part, it's been a dream. I'm vastly more productive, work hard to ensure that I maintain a good work from home habit, and have found that my mental health has improved drastically. Since the transition, I have done everything I can to set a clear expectation as far as when I'm available. I have specific set hours when they can expect me to be at my desk, use Google Hangouts away messages to say if I'm up from my desk for a quick break, or to stretch my legs, use my bathroom, etc., with the time that I will be back. I also always have my personal cell on me in case it's an emergency. I do most of the communication with my clients and our team via email, but I do have a VoIP phone that dials out with the main office's number, and I can be it can be offered paged via this phone as well. Almost the whole team is great with this arrangement, except one exception. Karen cannot seem to respect the boundaries. She'll page me outside of my work hours, or regardless of whether I have an away message set, and if I don't get to my phone fast enough, I can hear it elsewhere in the house. She'll call my cell. Usually for a very simple question that could have waited, or could have been an email. If I point out and I send an away message, she'll say, "Sorry, I didn't see it." I have even paged her and told her that I will be unavailable for an hour, and she'll agree pleasantly, turn around and page me 15 minutes later, followed by the usual call to myself I don't pick up. I will often come back to see that she IM me in an effort to get my attention as well. When I politely point out that I sent an away message or was away for a short time, or this question could be an email, etc., Karen will often reply with, "Well, I didn't think it was a big deal since you're already there." My position does have a certain degree of needing to be on call. If certain things happen with my projects any time of day, I do need to act, but Karen's questions are rarely about that and so much seem as spell checking, nitpicking, and nitpicking coworkers' work, which is another problem she has. Why am I rising? And did I accidentally increase? I don't think I did. It doesn't feel like I did. Oh, I did. Did I? Am I going insane? No, we're good. We're good. I think. Good. I have no idea if we're good or not. No, we're lining up fine. Okay, we're lining up fine. My position does have a degree of certain things that have happened with my projects at any time of day, but I do need to act. But Karen's questions are rarely about that, so it's just spell checking and nitpicking coworkers' work, which is another problem she has, and one of the chief reasons I leaped at this opportunity to keep my job, but not work in that office. Should I note that working from home is a perk offered to everyone as an as-needed thing. There is one employee who works from home full-time. I asked him. He said he's not experienced that level of intrusion at all, and meanwhile he says that he's busy. Karen leaves him alone. No away messages needed. Meanwhile, whenever I say I'm busy, Karen says, "Oh, I know we all are," and continues with her question or behavior. What can I do differently to enforce these boundaries? I have stopped running to the phone if I've communicated that I'm away and I hear an I'm at hear a page or I am. But that doesn't seem to stop the inevitable tide of calls and texts to my cell phone. Or sometimes she'll just page and page and page until I get sick of hearing an answer. Even though I'm taking a break, I pride myself on being just available now as I were in the main office. But at this point, being forced into much more available at home than I ever was whenever I worked in that building. How do I keep from turning my work at home situation to, haha, I actually just live at work now? Um, 27 days later, a update was done. First of all, thank you all for so much for publishing my letter, your advice along with the commentary was perfect. I keep my phone super quiet now. I don't jump whenever she calls. I also think that a lot of commenters picked up on the fact that I was trying to prove that I was working just as exactly as home and not doing anything helpful with my oh, away message. I was happy to let this go and move on with my life, but personally, we have had a fairly bizarre outside incident today. Aaron's boundary pushing is about to get in trouble with someone besides me. We're gonna count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, we're shorter. That's not right. How are we shifting? Why is this so bad? Why are we shifting sizing so bad? But it's like, it's not... Did I just miscount my first thing? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't really count anymore. That is such a pretty color. I love that. Anyways, as I mentioned before, we were a small family-owned company. Very sadly, the owner suffered a stroke and passed away. The owner's son, Norman, is our CEO. So the status quo is remaining relatively the same, but we're all pretty sad. Norman has missed a few days of work due to the loss, but we are prodding along business-wise. However, at the funeral this week, apparently Karen decided to bring some contracts that need to be discussed and signed off on. Said it'd be a good idea asking Norman to review and sign these documents while he was at the meeting with the other pallbearers, while they were gathered around the father's casket? Oh. Okay. All of us in the office saw this happening, and frankly, none of us knew what to say. It was so surreal. Fortunately, Norman just shot her down with a firm, "This is really not a good time," which is more diplomatic than I thought of what I would have said in the moment. I suspect Karen will be spoken to about this, since Norman is aware of my complaints. Karen as well, and I might have some pretty strong ally moving forward now. Alrighty, our next update is 38 days later. I just wanted to give everyone a wee update to the update to cut the chase. Karen wasn't fired. However, this is horrible and gossipy, but I am friends with a guy who has the office store next to Karen in the brick and mortar building. He mentioned that our CEO, Norman, came into the office. He had been absent lately due to stuff with his dad's passing. Norman had an hour-long closed-door meeting in Karen's office. The building's walls in that building are pretty thin, but my friend said that they didn't need to be. Norman apparently got fairly animated about the approach to sign things at his dad's funeral, and then brought up that it isn't the first time that he's had this issue. Karen went home for the rest of the day after this talking to, and that was on Tuesday. When she came back on Wednesday, my friend said that she struck mostly to herself, and is almost hiding. People are coming to her for things that other than vice versa, and she hasn't paged anyone, not just me, but anyone. I think she's embarrassed, probably mostly by her behavior at the funeral, and is now laying low. I'm hopeful that this will be the wake up call to her, and that she will understand that her need to get work done doesn't trump everything. My friend with the neighboring office has also authored that thinks that Karen isn't very happy at home, and that with our grand boss dying, she was probably trying to really sublate her work and get through it. I think I'm done yapping. I think we might go back to music. Alright, yeah, I think we're done yapping on that stuff. I think we're gonna go back to music.